Hey, little sisters. Here I am. Here we are, coming at you live at around 7:30 on the 31st of January. Wow. Has the whole first month of 2024 already passed? Yes, it has. And here we are. I'm surprisingly under the weather today. It's like I thought I was enjoying an uptick, and then to this morning just woke up like completely like throat closed, and I'm like, what is this? And then I checked the air quality, and it's poor. So I was saying the other day that we should have like a health and beauty segment on here, also so we can draw some beauty and aesthetics viewers. That's just as a joke. But the health part to me is really important, and probably screaming in a vacuum again about air quality. But as someone who's particularly sensitive to that, then I have to be super conscientious and flex a little bit because I did this research. So current air quality in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, the so-called DMV, is poor, and that's mainly because of nitrogen dioxide. If I read that chemical, that molecular structure correctly. And these are so-called, I think VOCs or something like that, volatile organic compounds. It's like when they don't know what else to call shit that's in the air, that's what it is. It's gases and stuff like that. So it's not particulate matter, but it's other shit that makes you sick and makes me like this, I think, because I'm like, it doesn't feel like a flu, although I'm having a serious reaction to it. It feels more like an allergy. So something in the environment is triggering me. And when I read what nitrogen dioxide does to humans, and I guess all mammals and breathing creatures, is it elicits it releases free radicals in all of your, respiratory tract, but not only your breathing system, but also it can shrink the arteries and veins accessing your heart. So you can get like palpitations and all kinds and like other stuff. And of course, your life can be shortened from that, either very quickly and dramatically or just over time. And it doesn't even matter if you're sensitive to it. We are all being just like bombarded with these very bad chemicals for our bodies. So I'm trying to like up my vitamin C intake, which is a mantra of mine, and we can come back to that at another time. Hopefully when I can get my oops, lost the connection. Did it reconnect? Uh let's see. Not sure. Maybe. Maybe I'm still streaming. Um anyhow, when uh when we get my youngest sister on board here, because she's the one who talked me into or to just convince me how good ultra high, like high dosing vitamin C powder is. We'll launch into that another time when I get her online here. Uh, but so I'm keeping my vitamin C intake high because that's to tackle free radicals, it's an antioxidant so that you're basically so your cells don't oxidize, I think. Yeah, so they don't oxidize, but they oxygenate. So we need oxygen in our body, right? But we don't need them to be releasing free radicals. So that's the distinction between the two kinds of things. And yeah, vitamin C just does that. helps our bodies to oxygenate. I'll go off on that tangent another time with much pleasure. So hit me up. So today I engaged in a lot of do it herself, is what I want to say. I read that in order to, so our house is already like every room has an air filter system in it. Many that are the poor woman's air filter that I first discovered in California and in the middle of all the wildfires when we were in lockdown on COVID. Couldn't even go outside then because the air was unbreathable. You remember the Red Dawn images? Yes, we happened to have just moved to the San Francisco Bay Area like a month and a half before that happened. And I was like, is this like thunderstorm that's starting everything on fire normal? Well, no, turns out it wasn't. It just felt like, I'm a natural disaster magnet. And so we had to, respond to that. And so I got, I set up all the, like I said, the Poor Lady filtration system, which are just box fans with a HEPA filter taped on them. And believe me, that shit works because you can see all of the particulate that those HEPA filters are accumulating like that. So of course we replicated that system here, unfortunately, because we've had to. I mean, we moved from the West Coast to the East Coast. Same drama has followed. And then the more insidious type of these of air pollution, which are these noxious gases and, ozone and, like I said, nitrogen dioxide. By the way, they just killed someone in Alabama with nitrogen. So the question is how strong a dose. So bam, in 15 minutes and you're out legally killing people, or just a little more gradually over time in the environment in which we live. And, no one is tracking this crap. I am, because I'm obsessive, and obviously the proverbial canary in the coal mine. Also, my son is like this, so it's a genetic thing as well. But doesn't matter. Everyone's going to die from this or have serious health consequences. So I discovered that my poor woman's air filter system does not work on these volatile organic compounds. No. It's very disappointed. No, it's a gas. So I'm like wearing the mask. I'm literally sleeping in a mask, so I don't sound like this. Surprise, doesn't work. Because gases just permeate those fibers, right? It's like, you need a gas mask. And so what's in a gas mask? I don't know, but what I did read is that it's actually activated charcoal that breaks down gases at a molecular level. So you'll read, like if you go on Amazon looking for a good air filter, you'll read these filters handle smoke and food odors or other odors. So those are the ones with the activated charcoal filters. And they're like, they call them pre-filters. So they're just like these porous black filters. They don't look like they do much, but actually they do. And I guess there's like a gradient in terms of the quality that these things deliver. So of course, that's going to be my next line of inquiry. But for now, I surprisingly had a whole stash of these things laying around because I was just like not really using them. Like, this is just going to catch some big chunks. What particles are that big, right? So I'm thinking they're not useful. Turns out they're mission critical. So today I spent a good amount of time cutting and taping these activated charcoal filters on the HEPA filters that are then taped on my box fans. So I've got like multiple filter layers now on my fans. And as this problem develops and the responses to it need to evolve, you'll hear from me on that, because it's like I say, I mean, when they tell you you can't go outside, that you're better off not going outside days in a row, red flag, because we're just breathing this freaking air. Anyhow, okay. So put a pin in it. As I told you, there's going to be something I'm venting about every day. Also, like, how am I spending my time? How are you spending your time now that it's the off season and I don't want to watch any of the usual programs that I watch, because it's all about, the 49ers I can take, right? Show of hands if you're okay with Mr. Irrelevant. Let me say that again. Show of hands if you're okay with Mr. Irrelevant winning a Super Bowl. Totally down with that. I think that's in our DNA. As Bills fans, we have to be for the underdog, you know? So, and that was something inculcated in me from an early age by my dad, just to root for the underdog. So I always do that. And I don't even know, it's going to be some fake that the Chiefs are the underdogs, just to make this really like a Hollywood story. But let's face it, the Chiefs, I mean, actually, it's the other way around. The 49ers have so much stacked against them. Maybe you've seen these visuals on the NFL memes channels. Like, here's the Chiefs logo arrowhead, and here's all the rest of the NFL teams' logos. Like Kansas City against everybody. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. And I would, shorthand is, of course, the whole Taylor Swift phenomenon. But again, I don't want to hate on her. But it's more about what that represents. So I'm just going to go to the reply that I made, which, is neither here nor there. Nobody cares. Talk about screaming in a vacuum. That's what I'm busy doing right now. But I made a response to that visual. I am not finding it. Maybe the NFL deleted me. Maybe they sidelined me, like I say. Another woman sidelined by the NFL. Hashtag big fat surprise. All right. It's not there. Not in my replies. Not in my, maybe I'll switch accounts and see if I had posted it on the Light on Bills handle, but generally speaking, I'm like just trying to only promote the podcast on there, or to amplify, because that's the best practice, to amplify, to name and amplify women and women-led initiatives and such. Oh God, I got that so wrong. I'm gonna actually share screen with y'all. Dudes, I gotta say, this is like so hard for me to I just have absolutely no energy. I'm gonna share this just so you can see, take some looks at but I answered that tweet. That was the meme, the initial meme. Let me see if I can zoom that in for y'all. The initial meme was this, NFL memes. It's hard to see because they had, okay, two logos side by side, right? So Kansas City and Darth Vader. I mean, that's a fucking insult to Darth Vader, by the way, and the whole Star Wars franchise. Like, what the heck? What are they trying to say? So I didn't really see that in the initial image, but I covered it up in my response, which was we have all of the Taylor Swift phenomenon behind Kansas City going against the Ravens. And if you're not familiar with it, Fix That For You. Fix That For You is a thing that feminist groups do when they need to fix a headline, which is largely when it names a victim of violence, for example, that tend to be women. Also, it's when you characterize, for example, like I just said, violence against girls and women. So that's the hashtag for violence against girls and women. It's VAGW, hashtag VAGW. Sometimes it's hashtag domestic abuse. Sometimes it's hashtag DA. And I should have warned you when I started launching into that discussion because it is triggering. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit. But one of the syndromes is, of course, talking about violence against someone instead of characterizing it from the perspective of the perpetrator. It's from the subject of the discussion is the victim, which is all wrong. And once you start to think in these terms and look at headlines and look at narratives and look at behavior, you can see how often it's couched in the wrong way, quite simply. So I'm completely on my own, but my own hashtag is VPBM. I know it's never going to make the headlines, but it is violence perpetrated by men. Well, that's a whole, it's all of history. Right. How did I get to this? Oh, because I was talking about how I recharacterized that, I fixed that headline. So feel free to do that. If you see a headline that just ain't characterized in the way it should be, feel free to fix it. That's what I did with this. Because, okay, again, what I'm venting about is the whole um, Super Bowl, the Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl, and the Chiefs will be characterized as the victims, as the underdogs, just to make this all the more rich when they win it. Because let's talk about that. They're going to win it. They're going to win it because it's a foregone conclusion, because we have to make this global audience who are being driven by Swifties. No offense to them, and certainly no offense to Taylor Swift, but it's more about how shitty that is that the NFL is doing that to all the rest of the teams and the fans of those teams, right? And if we weren't such suckers, like I said, we would girlcott or boycott or whatever it is, we would just do that. But, then we're disloyal to our teams. So they really got us by the short hairs there, if you think about it, right? They really do. It reminds me a little bit about shoveling snow for the Bills games, because they know that we're going to get out there and do that and do it with alacrity and be Venmo'd money and give it to charity. I mean, like that awesome dude, I think his name was Anthony, did for the last home playoff game. But there are the murmurs, not just murmurs, but like NFL or even the club itself certainly has money to do this kind of thing. So it is a little bit, and I saw a post by a mom somewhere. It got buried in the discussion, just like the stadium. It got buried, but she said her son and his friend went over to Rich Stadium or whatever you call it, Highmark Stadium, 2 times ago. So the first big blizzard, the big lake effect snow band that hit Rich Stadium ahead of the Steelers game. And she said her son and his friend, and that was desperate and urgent times, right? It was literally, we delayed the game. We had to still clear out the stadium to have it delivered on time. And all of us are worrying about our team. Is our team going to be able to practice? Are they going to be able to get into the stadium? So out there because we care. But her kid and his friend went and shoveled snow all night. And she said all they got was watered down hot cocoa and a granola bar. And she was not happy about that. She's like, they were exploited. So that kind of ticked me off, I have to say. But then I was like, a little bit, I gotta, with a little bit of a grain of salt, like everything on the interwebs. So, but retractable roof, dome. I know this is only part of the discussion. Is you still need to be able to access the location, and but at least if there's a cover, people don't need to be working all night long in freezing temperatures to get a watered down hot cocoa. Like, maybe it's just how I'm feeling today. When I feel really allergic and under the weather like this, it just makes me super, super irritable. Like I'm literally irritated, and that makes me irritable. So let me get off my rant about that. And there were a couple things I saw today. So first off was okay, the Reese's Senior Cup. Apologize for that idiocy. It is, of course, college seniors. So it's a little bit of an appetizer for the draft. And that's why their hashtag is the NFL draft starts in Mobile, Alabama, because that's where they're holding the Reese's Cup. Okay, it's the Reese's Bowl. I'd like a bowl of Reese's. Bowl of Reese's Cups. This is not the first time that joke has been made, I'm sure. So again, our friends over um on cover one are actually at the Reese's Senior Bowl, and they're dishing what their takes are on opportunities for the Bills, of course, which is very awesome of them. Thank you for being on the front line over there, guys. And one of the things they said on the show today, so I think that was the Senior Bowl Day 2 recap, if you want to check it out. One of the things they said is where's the Bills brass? And maybe I misheard it because as you know, I listen to these things on double speed, so I don't catch all the tidbits. So please forgive me for that. I have thus disclaimed it. So that's going on. That is always very interesting. And they reminded me that 8 of our 12 defensive linemen are going to be free agents at the end of the summer or whenever that free agency kicks in, which is friggin' terrifying. Yeah, I mean, among whom AJ Epineza, Daquan Jones, I think. I'm trying to think of the other standout person. Again, my brain isn't really working, but that's a lot of stitching together something that really worked well, even when it was on its last leg, you know. Again, props to Sean McDermott. But one of the other things that they mentioned is we don't have a defensive line coach. What? So we have a defensive coordinator now, as you know, Bobby Babich. I talked a little bit about that yesterday. It's the usual, you know. It dawned on me today that these sports shows are the way men gossip. Am I right? You know, let's think about that. Well, so and so, he's been doing this and then, you know, projecting like, could it be that that's going to happen or that's going to, you know, like completely based on nothing but gossip, because none of this is facts, you know, unless you've got your frontline reporters who are showing visuals and, you know, telling you what's happening, and that you can um, totally believe. All the rest is speculation. So call it speculation or projection or gossip. So sports shows are gossip for men, going on record with that. And also for women. Okay, it's just other stuff, but perspective. Anyhow, Bobby Babich will be the defensive coordinator. Will he make the calls? Will he, you know, will he do the defensive scheming for the game, or will Sean McDermott continue to do that? Of course, we don't know. We can all hypothesize in all the different gray areas between yes, he will do the play calling, and no, he will not do the play calling, and anything in between. Talk about it. Or we can just say, you know, we will see. But defensive line coach now, is this a position that has become freed up because Bobby Babich has been promoted? And what does that role entail exactly? I mean, you can imagine it's a very, very important role. So it's really about coaching our D-line players, you know, and getting quality out of them. So when I talked about process thinking, this is our defensive line, you know, that squad, that part of the process. And what does it take to defend, to be, and each of those roles even has different pathways to excellence, right? That I am actually dying to know about, because all I know is like the swim technique, you know, those D-line players who swim through other offensive linemen, you know, swim through them to get at the quarterback ostensibly. But, you know, there's so many different kinds of moves, and man, to me, it's like dancing. And this is something I have not even spoken about yet, which is how much I love dancing. Like, dancing is my number one thing. I hope that Zoom got that like little hand motion thing. Yeah, apparently it did. I'm not even looking at my monitor. I don't know, you know, I don't know what you're seeing. Oh, wait, I'm going to look now. I see my necklace is a little, actually wearing the house coat. So today I was hoping to have my beautiful younger sister Rosie on with me, but that's going to happen tomorrow. And so just in that direction, her namesake and all of our namesake, except me and my twin. I mean, maybe we were the first grandkids, so maybe, you know, my mom was in a different mindset when she named us. But after that, every single girl in the family has Rose in her name after my mom's mom, you know, who one of at our just now Christmas 2023, that I had the chance to spend with my twin sister down in Atlanta, another heart. Woo! Her son hosted the Christmas Day celebrations in pajamas because Grandma Rose always wore a house coat and would live in her jammies if she could. And hello, COVID hangover. I mean, as long as I can, I am in my jams or, whatever these multi-use clothing that also like sold off the racks during COVID. But hey, we got used to that, right? And let's also talk about bras that are more comfortable. So I think that was maybe another positive outcome of the pandemic. Anyhow, house coats. So now I'm like, well, house coat, outdoor coat, it's not exactly the same, but especially feeling a little under the weather, I put my actual jacket on because this is one of my signature things too, is like fuzzy stuff. Now, my dad had a very strict rule. He didn't have a lot of rules about anything, but one of his very strict rules was no street clothing in bed. And oh my goodness, do you not see this, especially like on American TV? Teens in their beds that, they come home from school and they like are in their jeans from school and then they get in their beds and are like chilling, lounging. Or what did my daughter call it the other day? A kickback. Yeah. I was like, oh, a kickback. So I guess what we would call lounging. We're just gonna like chill out or chillax. The youngsters today are calling a kickback. So, her friend was having a kickback tomorrow at her house. And, so she was asking permission to go to that kickback. And by the way, her middle name is Rose. So my daughter's middle name is Rose. My sister, Rosemary, obviously, her first name is Rosemary. Anyhow, okay, that's just a thing. All girls in our family are named Rose after Rose of the housecoat Rose. And yes, at Christmas too, in honor of Rose, Grandma Rose, we celebrated Christmas in our pajamas, which was totally awesome. And at my nephew's house, and he is a Bills fan. And that was such a breath of fresh air because I just love, he didn't grow up in Western New York. He was raised well by his mother to be a Bills fan. And, you gotta just love that spawn, mafia spawn. It's no longer even in that geolocation, but that it's just spawning in other places because those are some powerful genes, right? The Bill's Mafia genes and the Grandma Rose genes, the house coat genes. So I'm not technically in my bed. I'm kind of breaking a cardinal rule of my own to be wearing outdoor clothes indoors. But it's been so long since I've worn this outdoors. I'm going to just say it's been decontaminated. Why am I talking about this? I don't know. But we are running down to the half-hour mark, and I don't want to like bore you. So that was like, I noticed that, when I run on too much, it's probably less entertaining for y'all. Plus, how are we going to parse all this later on? I'm trying to put descriptions in each podcast. So if we can ever go through and actually put chapters in or something, that it would be easier. But there were two other things that I wanted to kind of raise today, that maybe Rosie and I will revisit tomorrow or whenever she's available. One is the Maddie Awards. Woo! Now, all of you know who Maddie Glab is. She is like our 1/3 of the team of One Bills Live. At least for me, she's part of the team. And she and Steve Tasker are, she's 50% of the post-game show team. But Steve Tasker and Chris Brown make up the Bills Live broadcast that is the voice in the building about the Buffalo Bills. And Maddie has her in-season Maddie Glab Awards. I don't know how often she does them. I've only caught them once this season, but maybe there are other versions. And then she had the end of season awards today. I'm not going to spoil it. Except to say, no surprise who the MVP of the season is. Just go watch it so you can feel good, because we need this at this point. And Maddie is amazing, as are the dudes on the program who, she met, the comeback player of the year, the unexpected, there's some kind of category like that. Anyhow, I'm not going to spoil it anymore. I'll try to figure out a way to put links in, because there was also a screening process for that, to be able to put links under each podcast. So I think I've cleared the screen with Google. I don't know whether I have for sure or not, but if I can put links in the description, I will do it. We will do it. And then the only other thing, related to MVP, of course, related to Pro Bowl, related to snubbing, is my QB1 and yours today is at the Pebble Beach Pro Am golf tournament. Now, which of our Bill's sisters is into golf? Do you feel again like we're like completely marginalized out of this conversation? Yeah, because so many business decisions are made on the golf course. Don't you know that? And in the bar, and maybe even other less savory locations where there may or may not be women present. Certainly not the women who, okay. Josh Allen is at Pebble Beach. This is why he doesn't do the Pro Bowl stuff, because he's like, I'm out. I like that he has another agenda. He's like, I don't even care. And if you invite me, I'm not going. However, Stefon Diggs is going to the Pro Bowl because he was an alternate. And now, I think if I remember correctly, it would be because, is it one of the 49ers receivers who will be in the Super Bowl? So it's going to be something like that. It's always like that, right? That there's so that the alternate gets elevated. Anyhow, awesome that Steph is going to have this opportunity, because he gets to showcase his shit and maybe leave this season on less of a bad note, right? I think that we all agree would be a good thing, because as we've talked about, he's not going anywhere. It will cost us more for him to go somewhere else than for him to stay in Buffalo, unless a mutually agreeable alternative is concluded between him and the team, which I'm kind of hoping against, because, well, I'm also keen to know your thoughts on that. So Josh is at Pebble Beach. I don't know anything about golf, but honestly, I really do want to, because for me, it's like billiards, pool, but on a bigger table, right? It's like there's the hole, the ball has to go in the hole, and the golf club is just a glorified, or it's a bent cue stick. It's just and the physics, the mathematics, the geometry, algebra of it is the same. Like you have to think about angle and force and impact and, all that. So, and then you have to deliver on it. So that's the catch, of course. Like, even if you can do the math in your head, you still got to be able to be the club that moves the ball in the direction at the speed and the trajectory that it needs to be. So very cool game. I used to play it virtually with my first great love. And we even did hit the ball around in, probably at just one of those driving ranges. And of course, that like putt or whatever, mini golf. I just think, if that could be a pastime of the Bill's sisters, sign me up. Like, I totally want to do that. And any Bill sisters out there who are in the DMV and are avid golfers and want to take me along to putt, mini golf, or driving range, or really on a proper golf course, I'm all in. And then tell me what I got to do to prepare, lift weights or whatever. I don't even care. Yeah. So that's how our favorite quarterback one player is spending the off season. So shouldn't we as well? Yes, we should. I'm gonna park it there. Love y'all, girls. Go Bill sisters and go Bills.